and welcome to the Your Good News podcast with me, Katherine Getty. It's easy to believe the news around us that the world is dark and the future is the same. But what if we chose something different? What if we chose to find the good news in each day? This podcast is a collection of interviews with friends, mentors, colleagues on their good news. From business to health to politics and everything in between, it's my hope that you leave with a boost and find your good news. When I began working on this podcast, Julie was immediately someone I thought of having on. Her energy and her spirit is infectious. In the midst of a pandemic, she created a community. She created Hometurf, which is an at-home Zoom workout that challenges and inspires. From hit style to Tabata to basically everything in between, Julie has created something that fuels all of us. But more than physical strength, it's the community that really has changed my life. Some of us have never even met, and I feel like I know all of them because we've been working out for over a year now, which is kind of wild. She always encourages us and makes sure to understand that our growth is a step by step. Man, don't we need a reminder of that some days? So here we go with another episode of the Your Good News podcast. Guys, I am so thrilled to have Julie on today. I just did her bio, but when I was starting this whole idea of starting a podcast, I was really drawn to how Julie talks about not only fitness, but really her view on showing up for others and showing up for life. And so I'm just honored that she's going to be able to share her light today. And I think that we're just going to get started. So Julie, welcome.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here.
This is so exciting.
My first podcast.
Here we go. I feel like I've had a lot of people with their first, and I'm like, guys, we're just getting this ball rolling. Welcome to the podcast world. Yeah, I'm a newbie too.
Yeah. I'm also a newbie at listening to podcasts. Is that weird?
No.
I feel like I'm behind.
I think, and there's a lot of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And I have found different things. A lot of it was during quarantine. Like I was like, I can't sit in my basement and talk to my cat anymore. And my parents are going to listen to this and be like, it explains so much. But it's like, it's sometimes the reason I like doing this podcast shorter is because it's sometimes hard to listen to someone talk for a long period of time and like focus. Yeah. So I'm new to the whole listening to podcasts as well. I feel that.
Okay, good. All right. Well, as long as we're on the same page.
Well, I always start the interview asking my guests, what's your good news? It can be personal. It can be professional, fitness, whatever you want it to be.
Well, my good news, I feel like I feel grateful to say that I have probably a fair amount of good news. I have to probably put, as a mom, I have to put my family first. my family, one is healthy and, we're all happy and we're growing. For anybody listening, I am due with our second in about, 8-7 weeks. Like what? So, yeah. Hopefully I don't go into labor in this podcast.
That would be a first.
Talk about first. Yes, my daughter Molly is going to have a brother, so I'm very excited about that. So that's some serious happy news. And then, when I think about happy news, I'm like, I'm somebody who I feel very grateful that I can't complain. I've been back at work for a while with everything that's been going on in the last year and a half, and then also have built a little side brand that I know we're going to get into. So, I'm just grateful to be here and be able to talk to you and feel healthy, especially the fact that, people don't know that I probably canceled last week because I had bronchitis. So we're on the mend. We're good. We're on the other side.
I mean, bronchitis in the summer is the most brutal thing. Being sick in general, but bronchitis in the summer, it's like you feel suffocated.
Yeah, it's awful. It was awful, but no, we're good. So everything's good. I cannot complain at all.
Well, I'm excited. I've been so excited to see your journey grow. So I know that, fitness can be so transformational just on people's outlook, mental, physical, emotional health. I'd love to kind of set the foundation with how did your fitness journey start?
Yeah. Okay. So gosh, how far back can I go? How much time do we have?
As much time. Before Molly wakes up.
No, it's actually really interesting. And in terms of just how much I've been thinking about this recently. And by recently, I mean probably about last year and a half since COVID, right? Because COVID made me since COVID started, COVID made me realize just how how important fitness is to me and how much even more like I really love it, right? Because anything we do at any job that we have, we go in and out of funks of being like, you know, is this for me or like whatever. Anyway, so we get that. So, and of course, I know we're going to go into Hometurf, but it's a big reason why I'm continuing with Hometurf and really trying to build it. You know, I think my fitness journey really has come full circle. And the beginning of the circle was when I was playing sports in high school.
Yeah.
I played lacrosse and field hockey in high school. I went for both for college. I ended up just playing lacrosse in college. And, you know, that was my sport. But it's kind of, this is a funny little story. So the biggest joke in my family, my dad still tells this story to this day. Like anytime we talk about like, you know, memories, whatever from growing up. And the joke in the family, first of all, like this is all related, that like Julie goes to camp. Like that's like everyone thinks like Julie just goes to camp. Like Julie has a good time anywhere she goes or whatever. I try to find kind of like the happy. Like I'm not somebody who like does well with stress. I don't sit still. Like I like to always be doing something, though I'm trying to learn how to sit still. And it's just so anyway. So that being said, you know, part of camp is also like Julie's positivity and just kind of like being this like, yay, like I love everybody. And granted, there's ups and downs about that, but that's like another podcast episode. But back in high school, when I started, you know, really becoming more like intense, if you will, in sports and understanding that I wanted to take it to the next level of college and yada, yada. And I just knew being part of a team was something so important to me. The joke was that I was coming home anytime I came home from a game, whether my parents were there or not, like whether they watched the game or not. The joke was, and this is dead truth. Every time after every single game, they would ask me, so what was the score? Like, what's the score? Did you score any goals? What'd you do? Like, how was it? And I just would look at them and I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea the score. I swear to God, like, this is not a joke. This is not like, I just didn't know the score. Like we could be playing our biggest rival, the biggest game of the season. And I didn't know the score because I was like, and it's funny because when I think about it and I look back, like I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't know the score. I just was like, but I remember saying to my dad, because my dad he always had his own little spot, like by the the field. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like he was watching by himself. Like, you know, and why? And I just said, I'm just happy to play. Like I just wanted to play. So, you know, fast forward, same thing with college. Like, you know, I was very grateful to be able to play in college and be part of a team and whatnot. And then after school, after college, after I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, like just like anybody else. Right. Yes. Yeah. Like
I was good at checking boxes. I was like, I know the path.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Like I know, like I need to get a job. I need to move out of the house. I need to get an apartment and not be able to pay rent. Like I need to max out my credit card a couple times. I understand what that means. Like I'll never be like total side note here. I'll never forget the time I was in line at Zara, like buying some cool new booties for the weekend and my credit card declined. And I like, literally, I go, what do you mean? I didn't even know a credit card could do that.
You're like, I'm going to pay.
Yeah, I'm going to pay. It's fine. Like I'll pay later. They're like, no, it doesn't work.
My credit score in my 20s was really,
oh my God.
I didn't understand that was an important thing. So
yeah, no one told me.
I didn't really value myself on score. So I feel like that's kind of how like,
exactly.
You're like,
I was just there
in the moment.
I was just there. I just wanted to be there. So anyway, I was, you know, I found a job in advertising. I actually worked in advertising for 6 years before SoulCycle.
I didn't realize this.
And I was, you know, a big, like, you know, avid rider, like rooster girl, yada, yada. So, you know, that's where I really found my obviously my place, as you know, as I know people listening who would go to SoulCycle, like, you know, you're a SoulCycle rider, you're not, like there's kind of no in between and you kind of understand. And I think I realize more now, and maybe it's because I'm like a mom and I like look at SoulCycle as like my outlet now and I'm very grateful that it's also my job, but it's just like, I do these things, whether it was playing sports growing up or finding SoulCycle when I had a corporate job or, you know, not caring about the score and not caring about like how many points I contributed or whatever. I was just happy to be there. And I was just happy to like be part of something and be part of a team and be part of a community. And like, I very much have always enjoyed exercising, going for runs. Like I love the endorphin high, right? Like the sweat, like I have this like internal, I don't consider myself competitive.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself competitive with myself. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I actually have been able to pinpoint this part because I'm just like, but I just love pushing myself. Yeah. Like I do. I really do love challenging myself, especially with different workouts and just being able to, but like mentally push myself. Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've talked about that. Like the physical stuff will come, but to me, when you are mentally in a good place, like everything else falls into place. So that was the long-winded answer.
No.
But yeah, like I just find it super interesting now as an adult, and as you know, we realize how short every life is and time, and how quickly time goes by. I feel grateful that I've been able to kind of reflect on what this is really, why I'm doing what I do,
Yeah.
and why I love it so much. And I know it's just because I'm just so happy to be a part of something that just makes people happy, makes people feel good. And that's the only reason why I've played sports, continue to do found Soul Cycle, you know, went to all the classes because it made me happy.
Well, I think I'm so happy you shared that, because I feel like it laid such a foundation for like how we're going to turn into, and we mentioned it a little bit, Hometurf.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's like your outlook is really about finding value in the movement, or finding value in being in a good place. And it's some days where it's like, I'm just going to do one more squat than I thought I could do. And like, that's great. And like, it adds up over time. And I feel like, you know, over the last year, we've all had to pivot. We've all had to figure out, like, we have no control. I think as a type A personality, have sometimes struggled with that. But I would love for you to share a little bit more about how Hometurf was created. It's, you know, an online Zoom-based workout.
Yeah.
So much more. It's this community that we have never met in person. I have never met.
Which is so crazy, because I feel like I know everyone so well.
But it's like, I know, like, I'm going to work out with like Morgan, or Morgan and I are going to talk about this, or I'm going to talk to Brielle about this. Like, it's so amazing. So let's talk about Hometurf. Like, how did you get this idea started? You know, share more.
Yeah. Okay. So Hometurf well, first of all, Hometurf was nothing, like, it didn't even cross my mind, you know, a year and a half ago. I would say like take it back to last March, right? When truly the world, like, you know, I'm talking like days before the world shut down. I was actually on PTO from Soul Cycle.
Yeah.
And I was in Florida. Like, I was like, oh, it's just a little virus going around. Like, you know, just like anybody. Right. I know. And I was like, it's a little, I'm still going to go away. And like, landed in Florida, like met my husband, yada, yada, there. And he, the place that we were staying, like everything was shut down by the time I even got there. So I was like, oh, this is great. And then like, I got phone calls from
March 14th, like March 13th.
Literally.
I will never forget that day.
I have literally, yes.
Should I put a trigger warning on before this episode started about, we will be talking about the exact date our lives changed?
Yes, that's so true. Oh my God, I'm pretty positive it was the 14th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love that so much. So yeah, I got a phone call from Soul while I was on vacation. They're like, I'm so sorry to call you on vacation, but like, I just want to let you know that like, we're starting to cut some classes, yada, yada, like all this stuff, whatever. I was like, sure, do what you got to do. You know, it's fine. Like, we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
No big deal. Like, oh, extra vacay. Okay. and then next thing you know, we got like probably the last flight out before like, you know, there was the airport shut down, and like
before you're going to be driving up I-95 back.
Literally, we thought about it. Yeah, like we're looking into options, and I was like, we gotta get home, like because Molly was 6 months at the time too. So like, you know, this is just about us. I don't want to be in a car with. Anyway, moving on. So we got home, Soul Cycle was shut down. So like, I went on this vacation. I came home and I wasn't going back to work.
You're like, cool.
And it was and it was a very quick turnaround in terms of just like, okay, like, you know, to be honest, like my immediate reaction was like, how am I going to take care of everybody? You know, and I know that sounds like,
Julie.
but truly, but I just really, and I think, I have no doubt any instructor would say something like that, because I've been doing it for so long. So it's like, when you're an instructor in fitness or even anything, right? Like you're a captain, yada, yada, whatever. It's like, you have a team, you know, like, if you have a team, like you just got to think about, okay, like I'll figure myself out. I know I will, but I was like, how am I going to make sure my people, right? Like that I see on a daily and weekly basis, like, you know, everyone stays happy. Cause I was just, immediately, it was crazy. It was crazy. And cause I knew I would have, I knew for me, I was very much at a place where I was like, I know what exercise does for me, especially, you know, 6 months into being a new mom. I was like, I have to get out. So yeah. So I was like, I will find the time, you know, but then immediately I go to my people, if you will. It's just, sorry, it's just like lack of a better word, but community, I really should say, and team. And, So it probably took, I don't know, like a couple days for me to reach out to just like a couple people that I know. Like, I think it was like a Sunday where I was like, oh, I would normally be seeing this person at like a Survivor. Let's see if they want to work out together anyway. So I put together, I mean, if you think home like this, we should go back. We should go back and see this workout, because I'm pretty sure I was like, just squat in place. Like, no big deal. Like I was just putting something together because it's, I didn't want to put anything together that sounded like, I was all of a sudden like a professional at this. It was very raw and rare. And so we did this workout, I would say 7 of us, maybe like 2 or 3 times. And I was like, okay, like, this feels good. I'm crazy sore because Lord knows I haven't done a squat in a long time. And I'm like, can barely walk down my stairs and we're not going anywhere. And I was like, okay, but this is good. Like, at least we're keeping moving and it's fun to see people on Zoom. Yeah. So let's keep doing this thing. And so I asked them, I was like, what do you guys think? Because of course I got a little nervous. This whole social media world, thank God. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
I was like, what do you think? Like, do you think I should blast it out to the world? Like, who knows if anybody will want to work out with me? Like, I have no idea. So, as I was doing this, I was also noticing other instructors, especially that I follow, like, we're kind of starting to figure out the same thing. We're all like just dipping our toes, getting our feet wet. And next thing you know, I mean, I'll speed this up. It's like that literally the workouts I was putting together, I was like, ooh, this is fun. First of all, I realized how much fun I enjoyed, like creating a different type of workout, right? Because I could do a soul cycle class, my eyes closed, standing upside down and like doing backflips, like when you do something long enough. So this was fun. It was like challenging. I was keeping myself busy. And then I realized people started liking it. I mean, at one point we had like 80, I don't even know, maybe like a lot of people at some point.
A lot of people.
And I think people started to realize too, and like trust that like you can still connect with people via Zoom virtually. And we were all had this common ground, right? Of being at home and just like feeling stuck, that these like virtual workouts, whether it was me or with somebody else, like kept us somewhat sane and connected.
And it was nice to have something I could rely on. Like I felt like I had something that like everything else was changing, but I knew like, I could come back and like, cause otherwise I was probably like flailing around on the floor doing some weird workout. So
right. And it's totally. And it's nice also to like, I realized people, this is some of the feedback that I also received. It was like nice to do a workout with somebody that you also know, and that, or at least like in the industry or I mean, for the soul cycle world, if you will, that people feel comfortable with. So it was good. It was fun. It was cool to just like, it was also really cool to just be able to connect and use the world of social media to really expand my reach, if you will. Because I met like, it was like, I'm going to tell my friend about this. I'm going to go. And then that's how this happened. Right. Yes. I mean, like I'm going to tell my friend about, Julie's workout. And it's like, I got, like I have someone in Boston. I have people in the West Coast who like do all this.
I don't know if I ever told you the first day we did the workout, I did it for my friend Allison. You were helping do a fundraiser for her.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
I was moving my parents out of my childhood home, and it was like at 6 a.m. and it was like, this is a non-negotiable. And I like left and I was like, Mom, that was really good. She's like, you're about to move a bunch of stuff and you just did a workout. And I was like, I did. And there was something different about this one. Like, I was like, as movers are coming in, I'm like doing burpees. I like remember this.
That's so badass. Hell yeah. I was like, whoa, that's like me and no.
Who's this girl?
Yeah, who's this little psycho on the screen yelling at you? So basically like that's how it started. And then next thing you know, I'm very lucky to live in a market where we were able to go back to work, a couple months later and, with masks, yada, yada. But at least I was able to get back to work and do something and with minimal classes. And I was like, okay, I think I went back to like 4 classes right away or something, or 4 or 5, something small, but at least I was able to do something. But I was like, okay, well, this also gives me opportunity to continue to move my body differently, because that was feeling really good. I realized like I actually needed this. I needed to move my body differently than just ride a bike. And then 2, I get to also like continue because I went back to work, I knew so many people were still staying at home, and all of a sudden people were like, well, right. Like, can we do this in the morning? Can we do this? Like, would you ever think about evening classes? Like, people were starting to ask me these questions. And I was like, wait a second. Like, whoa, that's okay. Like, sure. Like, let's work with this. Cause again, I'm not going back to a full-time schedule yet. So one thing led to another. And next thing you know, I'm like really starting to build a schedule with this. And again, it wasn't even called Hometurf until the last
I know. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. Like I don't even, what was like,
I don't even know we named it.
Like Julie's workouts. Like I have no idea.
I was like, click.
I mean, granted, we were calling it Stronger Together. Like that was kind of like the mantra for a while, because that's truly, obviously, like what I believe in. But Home Turfs, like the name Home Turf, I think made me really, I got a real big push for it when I started, I had the booking platform, the Talent Hack, reach out to me and was like, have you ever thought about, bringing your classes onto a platform, yada, yada. That kind of made a shift for me in terms of just, I guess, making it more official, if you will, and me kind of really committing to the fact that, like, okay, Julie, you have something good here. Like,
something also, like, amazing.
Like, it's that it's funny. I would think, I know a lot of people who would probably say the same thing. Like, as an instructor, like, we can be good at what we do and things become like muscle memory, but we also sometimes forget like the value that we do bring. And I think I'm grateful for my team at the Talent Hack, as well as like personally and at home, and my friends and family who like are like, what you're doing is amazing. So like continue to do it. Right. Cause it's sometimes that we lose that. So it was really, I think, the beginning of this year that I got that, I signed up with them and it truly is, it's just a book, like a good old booking platform, as you know,
it's
where
cool.
you book classes. Yeah. And it just made it more streamlined.
Yeah. It has the classes plus an on-demand library that you have like, all the classes.
Right. It's truly like, it went from so like archaic when I was doing like a Google Drive of just like, here's access to my Google Drive. Like, that was also like scary. I'm like, who can go to my Google Drive? And then also,
like, I gotta lock that down.
Yeah. And then also, sending out Zoom links via DM, like, to everybody, like, it was a lot.
It must make it actually so much easier. Yeah.
So basically it just streamlined everything, and it made me feel like, okay, I have a platform now where people can book, and even it went from donation based to actually charging for class.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do all this, I should probably find a name. So the name process was like wild. It was really fun. This is like the type of stuff I love. Like, and this is where I think
the advertising comes in probably in that.
Yeah. Right. And it's like, this is where I was in the creative department for when I was in advertising and things like that, like coming up with copy and taglines and all that stuff. So I kind of felt like I was able to incorporate a little bit of that, just like in terms of using my creative juices again. And, I mean, I was going like, it was going to be called Home Run at one point. It was going to be called like, I came up with some crazy stuff like, and then also like, but I didn't want to use my name because I just was like, this isn't about me. Yeah. Like, I may be leading this thing, but like, I'm never one to like this. When you show up to my class, whether it's on a bike, whether it's virtually, whether it's in person, this isn't about me. And so I knew that I was like, this is where like my whole full circle moment came when I was like, home turf. Like, I've been doing this at home, right? I mean, of course, like home and on my home turf, like you can take that literally, but you can also take it as, and this is where, like I said, it made me think about back to high school, like why I love what I do is because I'm everything I've ever done since high school, all the sports, working in the city, going to SoulCycle, finding my place there, just finding group fitness there, all these things. The reason that I've done all of this is because it feels so good to work on things internally.
Yeah.
And it feels so good to take time for you and for me, like my time for me that makes me feel good is sweating with a team, with a community, and through movement. So I was like, okay, like that's why I called it Home Turf.
Yeah.
Yes, we are in our houses and our, that we hopefully, own or rent or whatever, but that there's two parallels there. But yeah, so that's how Home Turf came about. That long.
No, I mean, there's just so many things like throughout. It's like, I feel like you've had so many like light bulb moments, and it's like, I'm so glad that like you stepped into saying, yes, like I'm going to put this on social media. Cause like, I have loved coming to the workouts, and I'm always sad when I'm like, but I do it on demand. I do it on demand.
Yeah.
You said one thing that really kind of struck out to me is like, this has been obviously a Zoom based workout, and a lot of us are in our homes. I have always thought, I'm like, I will never do Zoom workouts. I'm not that person. Mm-hmm. How have you found like breaking through that wall? Because like now I'm like, I never want to go back to a gym. Like the idea of going back to a gym, like I love the flexibility of getting heavier weights at my house and like pushing myself and being able to create my space versus like travel and like find a gym and like all these different things. So how do you kind of like conceptualize that?
I mean, so when we started doing the workouts last March, I mean, I tell you guys this all the time. Like there's just not a chance I'd still be doing this if it wasn't, if people didn't show up, right? Of
I
course.
know.
But like, I don't know. I think it's like, I think it depends on the class. I think it depends on the instructor. I think it depends on the people in the class, right? Because I think for us, we're very lucky in terms of home turf and the consistency and of people showing up month. I mean, at this point, it's almost year after year, and we're very lucky to say that. And I think I think in terms of finding your groove with a at home workout, one, it's definitely, like you said, understanding that you don't have to go to and from. Like, it's so nice to be able to, when the alarm goes off, I'm like, oh, I got to go to the basement and like whatever. I'm like, I got to go to the basement. Like, it's like it's really not that big of a deal. And like, it's so nice to be able to like stay, roll back upstairs and I can like stay in my clothes if I need to for a second, or I don't have to get back in the car and sit in traffic because Lord knows that's crazy these days. It's so bad. And I don't know. So it's just the comfort also. Like, I know sometimes I hear it all the time still, it's like sometimes people, depending on your fitness level, some people don't feel comfortable going to, whether it's a gym, and people, I hated going to the gyms in the city, right? You like get some weights, you go to a mirror, and it's like, it is. And you're just like,
please don't look
feel
at
comfortable. Yeah. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I don't want to.
I'm over here just trying to do me. You do you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And like, don't judge that I'm like only lifting 5 pounds. Like, like
because I'm here.
And I also found, and this, I feel badly because, I don't want to bash, gyms or anything like that, because listen, they are for some people.
Yeah.
But for me, I very much like to know that I am, as you know, I'm like team based, I'm community based. So I don't like working out by myself. I'll go for a run here and there, but that's it.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, at least I know that I'm like going to sign on at home and get just as a good workout that I would like anywhere else. And it's just so nice to be in the comfort of your own home. So I just think it definitely like for sure took, I'd say, a couple months to really get into that. Right. Like to really like be like, okay, I'm in this groove. And like you said, it's so nice to have a schedule and know that it's coming this week and know that like, this is what I have on Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that I learned over time is like, you can't just like throw out a day here and there. So, you can still get the same feel. You do. You just have to open yourself up to it. And you have to also, I'd say, like, if you're part of a program like Hometurf, say, like, I really appreciate our group meeting chat because it brings that other layer and element of being on a team, right? Like, I think that there's something to be said about any kind of program, whether it's Hometurf or anything else, that also has that component that you can talk to the teammates outside of the workout. And that has made the at-home experience that much better for me, because I'm just like, at least like, we're hanging out the Zoom and we're done for the day, but like we're all chatting throughout the day. And what I love about it is that we're also like, it's not just about working out. Like we're talking about like we should
Mayor of Easttown was we went down a path on that one.
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown.
I thought it was about a bunny, guys. It was, fun fact, not about a bunny.
I thought it was like how about the one when we were talking about everyone was sending pictures of their dogs? It's just like, it was like
Nancy got in the action.
Yeah, like even if you have, still people are working from home or whatever, it's just such a nice way to stay connected. And it's also just, like you said, such a great way to get to know people. Like you were talking to Morgan and Brianna and Brielle, like it's been way better, way more than I've ever expected.
Well, I think the way you've always approached classes like made me want to be open, because I think, I'm like, I'm not seeing these people on a daily basis. Like, I don't like, do I want to show myself on camera or do I not?
Right.
And it's like jumping full in and like being on the group meet and like feeling like I feel so much more invested. And I also feel like so much support. It's like, oh yeah, if I'm fully in, other people are going to be fully in. Like, light bulbs.
Totally. And I'm glad you said that, because, like, I'm never going to pressure somebody to do something that they don't want to do and that doesn't feel good. And I always say that during workouts, like, jumps don't feel good. Take away the jump. Like, no, you should not be. And I say that in class too. Like I said a million times today in classes, like, don't do something. I'm going to push you. That's my job. So take it if you want. But if today doesn't feel good, like if maybe yesterday was better, then do that. But in terms of the video thing, I will say, if you're going to be doing some at-home workouts, like, try it. Try the video on, like, who cares, first of all, if you mess up? I'm going to be straight up with you. The likelihood of the instructor noticing is slim to none because there's so many little squares and they have to be up close to the screen to even see that. And then two, like, who cares?
No one else is also
no one cares.
Like, and I can't watch anyone else because I'm like, I'm over here like trying to like lift weights and I'm like, okay, let's do it right. And I'm trying to stare at myself like it's like a mirror because I'm like, okay, let's do this right.
Yeah. And an instructor can only do so much virtually too, you know? So like, I think when they do come to the screen and you know that I love to spotlight, I love to show off everybody, you know, it's more just to cheer each other on, right? Yeah. Like this is not about me like correcting form and making you do something you don't want to do. It's just like, to me, that brings in more, you know, this is doing it with the team and community.
Well, I feel like you need to trademark the Zoom Brady Bunch high fives. For
I know the not Brady Bunch high five.
Done a Brady Bunch high five in your next Zoom, do it because you're kind of like in a Brady Bunch. I'm now doing it as I say it, but it is like one of my favorite things.
That is so funny. That is so true. That just rolled off my tongue one day because as you've done a lot of workouts with me and you know that things just roll off my tongue that sometimes I'm like, did I just say that? Or yeah, I just said that. We're going that route. But like, the Brady Bunch style high five has totally stuck. And it's if you do Hometurf, you know what a Brady Bunch high five is. And if you don't, you will if you like me really quickly.
And it honestly, like, even if I'm not on the live, I'll do it in the recording because I'm like, oh, my friends. Like,
yeah, totally.
Like it reinforces kind of that community that you always talk about. So what has been one of the biggest or most interesting lessons at coming out of Hometurf? And you might have already shared it, but lessons that you can pull out.
I mean, I think lessons or even just like the reminder of, I would say two things is like, the first one is being open to, you know, other avenues, whether it's within the industry that you're in or a new industry in general or, you know, something personal, mental, whatever it is. Because as we know, and as we've been challenged in the last, say, almost 2 years now with this whole thing called the COVID-19, and now Delta. It's like, Jesus.
I feel bad for both Delta and Corona beers. Like
I know.
They're getting handed out.
Did you see the tweet?
Oh, from like Delta, and it was like
Corona. And it was like, or from Delta. Yes. That would crack me up. Yeah. Anyway, but yes, is to be open, right? To like be open to change. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy, right? I mean, some changes are easier than others, but the last year and a half has been definitely difficult in many, many, many ways. And I do consider myself, I know my friends and family consider myself a happy person. And I know I share so much, you know, in terms of my life on social media and things like that. But, you know, that doesn't mean I don't go through my own struggles.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of being open and knowing that when there's a big struggle ahead of you or a big challenge to get through, it doesn't mean you're not going to be happy again. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to pivot and find something new or something in the interim. So that, and then I also think the power, and I've said this for a long time, and it is the mantra of before it was called Hometurf, Stronger Together, the power of connection will truly, I think, win anytime. And whether it's, you know, calling a friend just to catch up with them. And I think we realize the importance of that more than ever now, especially like the power of FaceTime and an actual phone call. I feel like, you know, text messages are great, but like when you just really like take the time to sit down and catch up with a friend, like I remember a couple of times during, you know, last year that I finally got to FaceTime with some of my best girlfriends that, like, you know, life is so crazy that sometimes you just forget, like you go months without even talking to each other. And it's like, that just felt so good. And so, you know, whether it's something small like that and personal like that versus like something bigger, like doing all these virtual workouts, but staying connected and doing something fun and something that makes people feel good, the power connection is going to win every time.
Yeah. I think there's so many nuggets that you said, but one of the things that really stood out to me was, I mean, everyone has had a heck of a year. And I can remember multiple times where I was showing up to the workout and I was like on the verge of tears at like 7 a.m. Yeah. And like you would say something and I was like, man, I'm a little less alone. And I think that Hometurf has just And everything that you've done is like all about finding the value, not in metrics, but in a community. And I think that that is something that is so special that I hope people are like, okay, how can I build a little community? How can I make a little bit of a difference?
Yeah. I think it's important too to remember that when if somebody's listening out there that's like, they want to do something and they want to build something, whether it's a brand, a fitness, whatever, anything, truly, it's not about having all the people, right? You need one person. Yeah. And you need, sometimes I get these messages. I posted them a couple of them yesterday, and I don't get them every day. Which I don't expect. I don't need, but every once in a while I get this message and I'm just like, oh, like I didn't realize to be able to touch just one person is enough for me. And like and none of these messages, but like you said, I never want to make, I don't think movement, like I said, the physical part will come, especially if that's one of your goals. And that's okay. Like if you want to lose weight, hell yeah, more power to you. But I think that will not happen as long as unless the mental part of it is there too. So that's for me always been the most important part because I say this a lot in classes that you don't always know the story of the person next to you, but just by being here is huge. And the energy that we share and fill in the room or even virtually, because as we know, like showing up, like, oh yeah, like Brady high fives. Like, it's like, you never know who you're high fiving, sister. And like some of the stories, like some of the things I do know. And it's like, I'm like, oh God, I'm just so glad to see some of these faces on here because I'm like, you are making this girl's day right now. And I know some of you don't know it and it's, not my story to share, but it's just like, it's, everyone has an impact just by showing up.
Yeah. Man, I feel like there's so much more that we can talk about. So down the line, you're going to have to come back.
I'm down. This is like also the best hour to do this because it's like, like I go into dinner time and bedtime. It's great.
Is there anything else? I feel like we've just covered so much. I mean, the power of community cannot be stressed enough. People run, don't walk. You're in the Connecticut area, but also on the virtual. Hang out with virtual.
Me. Yeah, totally. Please do. Like, totally. Hometurf is open to any and everybody. There is something, I've noticed with Zoom workouts and workouts in general is that people get so scared that they can't keep up. And that's the big reason why they don't sign up or even give it a shot. They see a video that, say I post and it's like people are doing burpees and it's like, okay, but did you see me in the corner? Like I'm walking this and doing it so slow. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, like I'm never going to be like upset that you're not doing a burpee. Part of an instructor's job is to accommodate every single type of person that shows up. Right. So if people who want the advanced option, I got to give that. Also, I give everything from a modified to an advanced option. So, I think that's an important thing. And I'm sure, at least I hope every instructor does that. So, whether it's me or somebody else, just don't be afraid to like give these things a shot and don't be afraid to hop on the at-home virtual bandwagon because it's real and it's certainly not going anywhere.
No.
And you can get way more out of it than I think people think, but it's just like a soul cycle ride, right? But every time I tell one of my first time riders, I'm like, don't worry about the choreography. Like, just worry about trying to find the pace. Just worry about your legs, like, and have a little fun. And then like things come over time. It's the same thing with at-home workouts. Like, I don't really know many people who just are like, I'm obsessed with virtual Zoom workouts in the first one. You know what I mean? Like it takes a little bit of time, but if you, like I say in the beginning of every program, you have to open yourself up to it, like invest yourself into it, whether it's the workouts or even especially like I said, the group me component, if there's a community aspect that you can talk to the teammates outside of the workout virtually. Yes, you may not know who you are texting with, right? Like
I text people, I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Right. Like you may
I'll
not
get to know you.
Yeah, but like, and it totolally sounds crazy. I get it. Somebody might be like, oh hell no, like listening to this right now. And I get it. I used to be there too. Like totally. I was like, I'm not gonna keep doing this thing. And now we're 2 years into this thing just about. And it's like, I don't know what I would do without these people. So, you just, like I said, you have to be open. You have to be open to it and give it a shot.
I feel like the name of this podcast is going to be like being open because I think we both talked about the value of it. But Julie, I can't thank you enough. This time flew by.
Are we done? This is it?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to keep going? This is so fun.
I know. I'm like, I got to keep more content for when she comes back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm more than happy to come back. I mean, let's talk. I'm an open book. I do enjoy telling the stories,
You have such a great story to tell and just such a really beautiful spirit. I know everyone's going to get to hear that today. And before we end, where can people find you on social media and beyond?
My Instagram is JW Ferrer. I'll spell it out because it always confuses people. It's JWFERRER. You can find me on a Soul Cycle bike in Connecticut and doing Hometurf virtually, which the link to, I don't have that 10K following, so I can't do like any of those swipe ups. But
we're manifesting it right now.
Yeah, we're manifesting it. Yeah, give me a good old follow. You can see. Yeah,
I'll put the talent hack in the show notes so people can click on it. Also,
and then exactly you can link that and people can book a class, and you can always get the first class free. There's a little code that literally you just put in the checkout, first class free. So yeah, so if you want to give it a shot, come give us a shot, and definitely message me if you're gonna check us out for the first time, because I love to connect with you.
Yes, come join the team.
How freaking fun. Isn't it a good reminder that there is so much more to working out than physical strength? It's about how and why we connect. It's about the small wins that create large change. What stood out to you? I hope you leave today, as I am, with a full cup and share that with others. If you liked, please subscribe, share with friends and family, and join me next week for another episode of the Your Good News podcast.